What is going on, YouTube? Super Insane 18 here, bringing you another dueling video. We do lose the dice roll here, and we are playing Dogmatika Zoodiac. Now, we do actually open decently. Let me just reread Harpy Harpist because I don't remember what it does. Harpy Lady, when it's on the field, when this card is normal summon, you can target one winged beast monster you control. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add one. Okay, so that doesn't really do anything for my opponent right now. Elegant Egotist. If Harpy Lady is on the field, special summon... Okay, that's fine. I guess we could have maybe negated that and it would no longer be Harpy Lady, but I'm honestly fine. We do have essentially 2 effect negates in our hand, so I'm not too worried about it. My opponent's going to link into Harpy Conductor. This card becomes Harpy Lady was on the field. If Harpy monster you control be destroyed, if face-up Harpy monster you control returns to the hand. Okay, so that really doesn't do much for my opponent right now. He's going to end his turn on just that, activating the effect of the Harpist in Graveyard. And adding, I believe that was Channeler. Okay, and we actually get kind of a nutty draw with Zoodiac Barrage here. Hopefully that back row is nothing too scary for my opponent. Let's go ahead and activate Tenki. Looks like my opponent does not have a response. We are going to add a copy of Ram Ram only because we opened the Barrage. If we didn't open the Barrage as well, we would go for a Wrap here. Let's go ahead and activate the Barrage, and we can use it to pop the Tenki. Assuming my opponent doesn't have a response. It looks like he might. Okay, so nothing yet. We're going to go ahead and pop the Tenki and summon out Thoroughblade. Now we'll use the Thoroughblade effect to discard the Ram Ram and draw one. Okay, so my opponent doesn't have anything. We're going to go ahead and draw into the Ash Blossom, which is pretty good. Then what we can do here is go for pretty much the standard cookie cutter play. We don't really go for, we do have access to the Mega Clops, but we don't go for it unless we actually have, what is it called? Unless we have any part of our Dogmatika engine. So I think what the best option to do here is let's go ahead and let's stack a couple things up. So here we can just attack directly. This will give us access to Zeus. No. Alright, we can go main phase 2. Let's go into Trident. And we can use Trident to pop the Harpy Conductor. Then let's go into Chalkanine. We will use the Chalkanine effect, detaching the Trident to bring back the Trident. Then we can make Tiger Mortar. We can use the Tiger Mortar to attach a material to the Trident. That way we have a live pop. And then finally we can end on Zeus. We will set our Infinite Impermanence and our Book of Moon. And looks like we are in a fairly good position. So, not quite sure what my opponent might do here. Looks like they're going to normal summon the Channeler. I believe this just lets him... Okay, so before he's able to do that effect, we're just going to flat out Book of Moon it. Usually getting rid of the normal summon is the best case scenario here. This means that he doesn't have a Harpy on the field. What is he activating? Hysteric Party. We can actually negate that. We are kind of wasting an impermanence here, but it is worth it to make sure that he can't use Hysteric Party. and my opponent is going to surrender. So let's go on to the next game. Okay, so jumping into another game here. Maybe we should stop throwing paper. It seems to be losing us a lot of games. But my opponent actually does opt to let us go first, and we opened a very good hand. So let's go ahead and normal summon the Thoroughblade. We will activate the effect to send the Ram to the graveyard. We do draw another Ram, which isn't the best, but it is what it is. Now we can showcase the Mega Clops combo that we use. So we can make a Chalkanine over this copy of Thoroughblade, using its effect to reborn the Ram. And I'm sure all of you guys know how to do the Mega Clops play, but we're going to go ahead and just walk through it here. Then we make the Trident on top of the Chalkanine, using it to pop the Ram, and that will actually allow us to reborn the Chalkanine that we just detached. Now the reason that that's good is because Chalkanine is only a soft once per turn, meaning that we will be able to use it again. So let's go ahead and reborn it, and then we can put another material on it using the effect of Tiger Mortar that we make over the Trident. Using the Tiger Mortar effect, we will detach the Trident, target the Chalkanine, reattach rather the Ram to the Chalkanine, then activate Chalkanine's effect to reborn the Trident. Now, this puts 3 XYZs on our field, which is the requirement for Mega Clops, and any deck that can pretty much put out a pseudo towers on the first turn is very good as far as I'm concerned. So now we've got Mega Clops, and because we control a monster special summon from the extra deck, we can use Ecclesia. Now, the combo is a little bit better if you have Nadir Servant, because you can send the Titanclad, but we already have the Fleur-de-Lis, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Using the Ecclesia, we are going to add a copy of Dogmatika Punishment, and while this card does have a little bit of a nasty side effect of not being able to go into the extra deck on the next turn, because the Mega Clops is going to be able to reborn the Trident, we don't actually have to go into the extra deck. So it is pretty cool. So we can go ahead and end here. That leaves us with a Towers and Effect Negate in the Dogmatika Fleur-de-Lis, and then we have the Punishment to potentially get rid of cards. My opponent hitting me with the Santa Claus, though, which is definitely a little awkward. We're going to go ahead and actually let him do this, or not activate anything yet. We're not going to let him do this. Oh. Okay. So here I am actually going to use this. It is a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. We are going to send the Natis and pop both of the cards on his field, just to make sure that he doesn't really get anything out of it. And then, because we still have the Effect Veiler, I feel a little bit confident. What did he normal summon? Okay, I have actually never played against Virtual Worlds before, so let's read Yan Yan. For level 3 monsters, normal special summon your side of the field. You can special summon this card as a tuner, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is banished, okay. I don't feel like there's necessarily anything we need to do just yet. What did they activate? Super Hippo Carnival, okay. Interesting. Does this do anything? No, it just looks like it is another monster. So what is... Okay, so he's going to activate Cherubini. Cherubini does pitch for cost, so there is no point in me using Effect Veiler for this. But we will see what he ends up doing. Okay, so he does send the Graph. He's going to end up summoning the Seer and doing all those shenanigans, probably going into a Rusty. But like I said, I've never played against Virtual World with, you know, COVID and everything going around. I haven't been able to really do many duels. So he summons Rubik, which I guess he just wants the tuner aspect of it. That's fine, because we do have the Effect Veiler for the Needle Fiber. So he does activate the Halki Fibrax. I'm actually going to use Fleur-de-Lis. Because I control the Ecclesia, it will also negate the effect. I will negate the Halki Fibrax, and I don't think there's much left for my opponent to do. And I believe I do get a draw. Yeah, I do get a draw off of the Santa Claus at the end of the turn, so my opponent is in a pretty bad position here. He is going to activate Monster Reborn, though. That's kind of bad. He can get my Mega Clops on his field. I don't know if I like that. Let's see what my opponent does. Yeah, if he puts my Megaclops on the field, I don't know if I reasonably have a way to out that. Okay, so he's not going to go for my Megaclops, which is okay by me. So what is my opponent doing? Special summon, graveyard, special misses, tuner. Okay, that's fine. We still have an effect veiler. This is definitely interesting, but I don't think my opponent has much left he can do through one more negate. We'll see, though. Taking a little bit of time, looks like maybe he might lose to the timer. Okay, so that can attack directly, which is a little bit of a threat, because he can then make Zeus on me, which I don't like. Interesting. I mean, he could make Zeus either way, because he can just swing into my Ecclesia. I'm going to go ahead and hold off. Okay, so he is going to use the effect so he can attack directly. Which is fine. I will still get a draw at the end of the turn. I'll take the 2,000 damage, but I do have a way to stop the Zeus on his next turn. I can't use Effect Veiler on my turn, unfortunately. But I mean, I guess that is the play. Nothing else left for him to do but Zeus me. So maybe he'll use it this turn to clear my board, which if he does, I can just Effect Veiler him. And that's like the best case scenario for us. But it looks like he's just going to pass his turn. I will use the effect of Santa Claus to draw one. And it does get me into Thoroughblade. I do get Infinite Impermanence, but unfortunately I do have cards on my field, meaning that I can't actually do anything with it. I am going to hold the Zoodiac plays for my next turn, and I'll actually just go ahead and enter Battle Phase. This should prompt him to use his Zeus. Let's go ahead and swing into the Halqifibrax. Yes, we will use the effect to gain the extra 500. Okay, so he is going to use the Halqifibrax effect. If I had to guess, maybe going into something like Formula Synchron. Okay, so he is going to Zeus. That is perfect. That is fine. So he is going to summon out Coral Dragon. I will go to main phase 2, set my impermanence, and is it worth setting Ram Ram? Because Ram Ram can reborn. Yeah, we will set our Ram Ram here, just to have some form of floatability. We don't necessarily need to get the draw, especially because this will reborn something for us. And then we have 2 effect negates. He has no cards in hand, so I'm still feeling confident here. I mean, he's gonna destroy it. I might as well just use it. So here, I think he just puts the Zeus into attack. Yep, and he swings into both of my cards. So let's go ahead. We will use the Ram Ram. We'll probably actually reborn the Thoroughblade, and use the Thoroughblade to discard the Thoroughblade to get a draw. Well, let's not do that, because if we do, then we can't guarantee that we'll get a Zoo. So that's fine. I would rather do this, because then I can Zeus him myself, and put myself in a very advantageous position. So we're going to just go ahead and normal summon the Thoroughblade. Let's go ahead and make a Hammer Kong just to get a burner material. Then let's make the Chalkanine. We'll use the Chalkanine to reborn our Trident. Then we can make Tiger Mortar. use the Tiger Mortar to put Ram back under our Trident here. And then finally we can make Borbo and swing directly. So let's go ahead and attack directly, and my opponent forfeits. So let's go ahead and do one more game for today and see how it pays out. Alright, so here we have it, our third and final game. I am going to throw rock for once, and look at that, we win. So let's go ahead and opt to go first here. And we actually open a decent hand. It's nothing really fantastic. Unfortunately, we're just gonna pretty much go into Trident and Ecclesia. We don't really get anything special. We don't get to like protect with Hammer Kong because we don't have a discard. So we will make Hammer Kong as a burner material. We will put Trident on top. Then we will special the Ecclesia, using its effect to grab ourselves a Fleur de Lis. And then we can set our punishment and pass our turn on a pop and 3 hand traps. Well, 2 pops, potentially 3 depending on what we send, and a bunch of hand traps. So let's see what my opponent does. Set 1 pass? That seems kinda lame. Do I want to use anything? No. Okay. That's fine. Definitely not what I expected. Let's go ahead and move the Trident to attack. Not quite sure what I want to do here. I feel like I have enough effect negation that I'm not scared of whatever that face down is. So let's normal summon the Whiptail. And let's go ahead and make... Do we want to make Borbo with that? Sure, let's make Borbo with that, just so that we have something that banishes. So let's enter battle phase. We will swing into that. Even if we take damage, we will banish it, so it won't get any sort of graveyard effects. We will attack... I should have put the Ecclesia in attack. That's just me being stupid. Let's go ahead and attack there. We'll go to main phase 2. Then we will just make an arbitrary stack of Zoos. That way we can make a Zeus with more than 1 pop. And again, we will end on multiple pops, multiple negates, and just all around a good time. Yeah, that was me being stupid. I should have just put this into attack. I was more so just thinking about my next play and not paying attention. But for those of you watching, this should be an attack. Okay, I mean, I guess my opponent can just Regeki me. What do I want to do? Okay, I mean, I guess that's how it's gotta be. What does this? You can special summon 1 for higher from your hand. That's fine. Let's go ahead and let him do this. See what he's about to bring. Here I will activate the Effect Veiler. I want to save this, not necessarily do it right away. I'm fine taking 1200 here. So we did draw a Desires, which is definitely very good right now, hoping that he does not have an Ash. Okay, and that was actually a very good draw. Let's see what we hit. Okay, perfect. So, let's go ahead. We'll save our Monster Reborn for now. Well, did we already use... Okay, so we still have a Tiger Mortar, which is good. So let's go ahead. We will normal summon the Whiptail. Go into Borbo as a burner material. No, I don't need to do that just yet. Let's go ahead and make the Tiger Mortar. Should I reborn? Yeah, I should reborn the Trident, shouldn't I? And attach something to the Trident. So let's go ahead. We will activate this. Let's reborn the Trident. Let's use Tiger Mortar. Get rid of the Borbo. Target the Trident. Put Thoroughblade on because it's just our strongest monster right now. Let's go into battle phase. Let's run this over. Let's attack directly again. And then main phase 2, we can make our second copy of Zeus. And pass turn to our opponent. Now, unfortunately, this will not be able to negate, which does kind of suck. I might have been able to do that a little bit better if I Monster Reborn the Ecclesia instead, use Chalk and 9 to bring back the Trident, and then equip something to it. Then I would have the Ecclesia on field. So again, this game is just a lot of me not thinking, but I still think that we are in a very good position as far as I'm concerned. We've got multiple pops, a Ash Blossom, the Punishment will do wonders for us, hopefully. Target one monster in your graveyard, special summon it. That's fine. Then I will just immediately pop this with Trident, so that he can't activate the effect. Looks like my opponent might have some kind of response. Okay, so he doesn't, so the beat is going to go back to the graveyard. And what else does my opponent have that they can do? During your main phase, you can special summon one for higher monster from your hand. That is fine. Let's go ahead and activate the Punishment to destroy this, just so he can't get another special summon. No need to use any other effects. We will send the Titanclad, that way we can summon Ecclesia on our next turn. Let's do this now, that way we can just put it on field for overkill. So let's bring that. My opponent is going to hopefully still end their turn. We are going to activate the effect of Titanclad in the end phase. This will summon an Ecclesia. Okay, so my opponent does have Ash Blossom. That's fine. This is still lethal on board. And we do get the Barrage as well, just because we can. Let's go ahead. We'll activate Barrage. Let's use its effect to pop itself. Okay, bait a Ghost Ogre from my opponent's side. That is fine by me. Let's go ahead and then activate the effect of Barrage and put it under our Triton. That way we can get another pop if for some reason we do not end the game here. Let's put the Trident into defense. Move this Zeus into attack and enter battle. Because we are scared of Gores, we always attack lowest first, even though it's going to be on par with our Zeus. And then Zeus is going to seal the game here. And there you have it. Let's go ahead and jump into that deck profile and discussion. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the deck profile here. So it is pretty standard. It is 41 cards, and that's only really because I wanted to add in the Monster Reborn for a little bit more recovery. But all around, I think this deck is very solid. Even though you guys only saw 3 games, this is a deck that I have been testing for a couple of weeks now, and I've played hundreds and hundreds of test hands. and it is definitely a very good deck. So just to start off, for the power, I am going to give it a 7. Now, the reason that this gets a 7 for power is because it can put out a lot of damage, but it's more so a control deck, just like the last video that we did for Drytrons. More often than not, your goal is to kind of control for turn 1 and then go for damage on your next turn. But you do have a lot of power cards. The fact that you can stack up, you know, a couple thousand points of damage underneath any of your zoos at any given moment, with Tiger Mortar being able to reattach from the grave, the fact that Megaclops is a 4000 beat stick that you can make on turn 1, the fact that you have Zeus, the fact that Fleur de Lis will pump all of your Dogmatikas up by 500, so the power definitely is there, but it is not the main point of the deck. Moving into the consistency, I have to give it like a ridiculously high score. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9. Again, just like the Drytron deck list, it can't get a 10 because it is possible to open hands that just really aren't optimal and not great. Again, no deck is 100% brick proof, but this deck is definitely very consistent. In the hundreds and hundreds of test hands that I've played, I don't think I've actually ever opened one that hasn't been unplayable. There have definitely been some that, you know, I just end on like Trident with like a hand trap or two, or Trident with some back row, but that still is definitely enough to get you through a game, so the consistency is there. You know, you're not always going to see both of your engines. You do have quite a bit of cards to get you into both of your engines, so it is very possible and very likely that you will see both of your Zoo and your Dogmatika engines. So the consistency is definitely the selling point of this deck. And moving on to the recovery, we are going to give it a 6.5. Now, the reason for the 6.5 is you do have quite a bit of recovery cards. You know, Pot of Avarice is phenomenal, but you won't always see it. The fact that you can Reborn with Chalkanine, the fact that you can reattach with Tiger Mortar, the fact that if you go for the Megaclops play, you can always bring back your Trident. So you do have quite a bit of recovery options, but not enough to really say that you are always going to be able to play a recoverable game. But it is definitely higher than average. That leaves us with an overall rating of 7.5, which may be surprising because Drytron, which is considered the best deck of the format, only got a 7 in our last video. And the reason that I think that, I'm trying to be, you know, obviously as unbiased as possible, but I think that this deck just has overall a better plan of action. The overall rating doesn't make it better than Drytron, which only got 7. It's the fact that this deck can put out more power than Drytron, it is more consistent than Drytron, and it is, you know, a little bit more recoverable than Drytron, but Drytron hits harder in the negate aspect, in the long-term playability aspect. So even though Drytron is a better deck, I do have to give Zoodiac Dogmatika a higher overall rating. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some pros and cons, and just the same as the last video, the biggest pro is going to be the consistency. The consistency of this deck is just phenomenal. I don't even know how to say it other than go build this deck and test it yourself. Even hands that, you know, you can open up a bunch of hand traps, and just the fact that you opened up all your hand traps means you're going to get your engine on the next turn. Your opponent's not going to play through, you know, Valor, Ash, Ice Prison, Imperm, you know, Book of Moon. Book of Moon is honestly probably one of the most underrated cards this format. But yeah, the consistency of this deck is just incredible. Another thing is, I like that you can play multiple engines. I think that a lot of decks that are stuck in playing one set game plan are a little bit limited. This opens up your options. One of the really cool interactions that I mentioned in one of our games is that even though Dogmatika Punishment locks you out of the extra deck, if you did the Megaclops play, that doesn't really matter. You're locked out of the extra deck, but you're going to get your Trident back from the graveyard. You do have your Dogmatika stuff to keep you afloat. If you use the punishment to send the Titanclad, that means you're getting another Ecclesia, that means you're getting another Fleur de Lis, and realistically, you don't need your extra deck for that turn anyway. You are going to be able to put up some disruptions, put up some negates, and that's really all that you need moving forward from that point. On to the cons. Sometimes it's just not good enough to Trident pass. You know, we do have some crazy combo decks like Virtual World. You did see in the Virtual World game that we played that we were able to just kind of stop them dead in their tracks with all of our negates, which is good. But that's because we had a hand that allowed us to do that. If we were to just open up, like, let's say, Ram, Book of Moon, Monster Reborn, Imperm, and something else, we might not have been able to do that. That wouldn't be enough interruptions, in my opinion. So there are times where, even though Trident with a bunch of backup is really good, that it just doesn't cut it. But there you guys have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this Zoodiac Dogmatika deck profile. This is probably my favorite deck in this format. It is the deck that I do have built personally, and maybe I can even do a deck profile where I show you guys the cards. Unfortunately, I don't have the third Nadir Servant at the moment, so I am playing an Upstart in its place. But there you guys have it. If you liked, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button down below, and I'll see you next time.